In last week's show, I made fall leaves out of paper bags. This week, I'm continuing with my paper bag creations by showing you how you can make some beautiful and really unique paper bag pumpkins and lanterns to help dress up your home for fall. Okay, so since I made my paper leaf fall garland to put on my mantle, and I had some more paper bags left over, I thought that maybe I'll make some decorations out of paper bags also to go on my mantle. So actually what I'd like to have on my mantle is pumpkins, something like this, something really different and big, and these gourd shaped pumpkins. So I'm gonna try to make this out of paper bags, and I'm probably going to be making this up as I go along, so we'll see. You'll see my creative process, so we'll see what happens and see if we can come up with something beautiful for my mantle. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is use one bag for each two segments. I think these two rib segments look like that might be about this size bag. So looking at my bag, I'm going to open this up. And it already has folds in it. I think that I'm going to use those folds as guides for where my ribs are going to be. I want to flatten this out. I'm going to cut it open so that the bottom is open. So let's just cut the bottom open. And I'm just cutting along the tape edges. So that I could open it up. It's more flat. Before I do that, I want a line in the middle here. So I'm going to fold it over. So that there's another rib segment here. I'm going to stuff this with newspaper. So I have some newsprint, and I want like two rib sections here. That's about the size of this pumpkin rib shape. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half, this paper. Pumpkin. And then I'll roll it in half. Roll it like this, kind of loosely. So go on one half of the rib like this, and roll the other half. To the other side. And something that looks like this. So I think I'm going to use the hot glue on the inside and just like take that glue that's centered there, so I have a definite section. Just one little line. Push the bag down on it. And then I want to close the bottom and close the top. So I'm just going to push the paper up. a little bit. I want the bottom to be gathered together and the point, because my pumpkin is sort of tapers in around the top and the bottom. So I'm just going to kind of ball the paper up a little bit. I'm going to start gathering these pieces inward. Just kind of fold them. Want it to be gathered together on both sides like this. And I'm going to use some hot glue just right on the inside of here. Just sort of squeeze it together there. And this is going to be at the bottom of the pumpkin. I have this flap here going inward, and then I'm going to close the top. So I just want to try to make this as smooth as possible, because the pumpkin is smooth. It will be a bag, so it's going to be crumply, but I do want to try to make it as smooth as possible. Okay, for the top, I'm going to do the same thing. It's almost like an accordion. I want it to be kind of evenly gathered, but I want the top to be even more smooth than the bottom. So I might just maybe something more like that. A little hot glue here. On each side. And then I'm going to fold, I think I'll fold these at the point. Something more like this. So this is going to kind of roll in. I think I might even put glue like right at the very top here to push these two together and squeeze that together. Let's do that to the bottom too. Squeeze those together at the bottom. Okay, so this is going to be something that looks like this. Okay, these two ribs here. And I'll go back and shape it when I put it together, but similar to that. Okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna do 6 of these. And I think that should be enough to make my pumpkin. It's not going to be as big as this one, but I think it'll work. Let's see how it turns out. Okay, so now I have 6 of these little segments, and I'm going to try to put these together to make a whole pumpkin. So I went outside and I collected some pieces of sticks. So I tried to get something that looked like pumpkins, pumpkin stems. And I think I'm going to use this to create my pumpkin stems. I am going to attach the top of these segments to the stick here. So I'm going to start with attaching it to the very bottom of the stem and then try to go around. And the tops are the shorter ends, the bottom are the longer ends. So let's start with that. Okay, so I'm using packing tape to attach these to my stick. I'm going to take a piece of packing tape, this long. I'm going to put it on, squeeze the bag together at the top tip, put it on vertically like this. This is the back and this is the front. And then I'm going to attach that to the stick. And then when I get all the pieces on, then I want to take the packing tape and go around the stick really tight. And I'm wrapping the tape around the stick horizontally this time. Push these all in. Going around really tightly. I'm going to put a piece just all the way around it again. Squeeze it tighter. Turn this over, I can position my bags. Turn this in, and then I'm going to attach the bottom. You could also probably use the packing tape. Positioning this as I go. I'm going to go back and shape this the way I want to. So with this one I used 5 bags, and this one here is using 6 bags. As you can see, the one with 6 bags is a lot fuller, it's a little more smooth. Since the bags were a lot closer, it was a lot easier for the gaps to be filled in. Although for the larger pumpkin with the 6 bags, I had more of a hole at the bottom because I couldn't bring them all to the center and also keep the shape that I wanted. So I glued the bottom tabs close to each other. So to close up the hole, I just cut a circle out of a paper bag and hot glued that to the bottom of the pumpkin. But they both look pretty convincing. I really like these. I'm just going to go back and try to close in some of the gaps and smooth this out a little more. However, I do love the roughness of it. It has a sort of artsy look, but it still feels very organic. And the shape is very similar to the pumpkin I was trying to imitate. So I really like these. I'm really happy with how they turned out. Okay. Like I said, I want to have some variety in pumpkins on my mantle, and I have this pumpkin here that I'd like to recreate also. So this one is smaller, it's more round, and I think I can create this using just 1 bag and 1 stem. Let's see how that goes, okay? So just like with the first pumpkin, I am cutting the bag open at the bottom, fold in the center to add more lines. I'm gathering the top part of the bag around the bottom part of the stick. This time I use wire to wrap the bag around the stick, but you can also use packing tape. And then I'm going to carefully turn the bag inside out. I don't want to tear the bag, so I'm doing this really slowly. Okay. And now I can stuff this bag with paper. I'm going to put a lot up at the top to round it off. Looking like. Get a nice round shape. This is just as big as this one here. So now that I'm finished stuffing it, I'll just gather the bottom, cut off the excess, and just tape that down on the bottom. And just to make the bottom look neater, I cut out a circle from the paper bag to cover up the tape. But these are pretty close in size and I'm happy with it. I'm going to paint this one to look like this one and the other one to look like my big pumpkin white. So let's do that next. Okay, so I finished my 2 pumpkins. Well, my 4 pumpkins. I made 2 of the big ones and 2 little ones. And I'm ready to paint these now. So I want to paint these big ones the same color as this big white pumpkin that I have. I'm going to use some acrylic paint. This is just paint I got from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to start with white. Looks like it has a lot of white and a little bit of sort of a creamy white. So I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in there. Just a tiny bit, but I want it to be mostly white. Mix that creamy white together. So I am going to start by painting mostly white. And I want to get all in the cracks, all the way up to the stem. Every little crevice and paint white. Because with these creases, I don't want too many dark spots in here. So I'm going to do white, and it has a little bit of pink and green in it. But first I'm going to paint this all white, and then I'll go back and blend in a few of the colors. Try not to paint the stick, the stem. Keep calling it the stick. This is a stem now because it is on this pumpkin. It's growing out of the pumpkin. Right here at the stem, some of the pumpkins have this, like, see how it has this kind of bumpy shape at the bottom? I think I might just sort of go around and make a shape that looks like that by the stem. So it looks like maybe the stem is more similar to a real stem. Kind of grows out from the base. So something like that. I just have to make sure it's sharper. Okay, so inside the big pumpkin, this over here so you can see, there's also some pink and some green in there, so I'm going to try to add some of those colors in this white. I'm going to put more of the yellow in between the ribs, and this color is actually gold, so that'll make the the ribs more noticeable. Okay, and there's just some little blotches of orange around the pumpkin, the real one. Okay, now I'm going to add a tiny bit of green. See on this pumpkin. And I just want a little bit of it. Adds a little bit of freshness to it. And that, like the orange, it just kind of pops through a little bit. Okay, so for my smaller pumpkins, I am going to make those look like this pumpkin, which is green and orange, mostly orange. So I'm going to start with orange. Paint the whole thing orange, and at the top there's a little bit of green, so I'm going to add that, do something similar to that. So this is a very bright orange. Put it right here next to the brown, and I'm going to add some yellow to make it more orange. And it's got some brown in here. So, yeah. So take my little paper bag and paint the whole thing orange. And that's pretty close to this orange. Again, I need to get all in the crevices. Now this pumpkin is more like a traditional paperback pumpkins, if you ever made them before. I've actually never made paperback pumpkins, but I'm loving the way they're turning out. And this is something you can do with your kids. It's a fun, pretty easy project, especially if you just use one paper bag and make little ones. Of course, you could use a big paper bag and make a big pumpkin the same way. So here we go. Let's add some dabs of yellow streaks. Those little variations really help to, make it more realistic as far as painting goes. So this one. Okay, now I'm going to add the green to the top. Like this. Let's try this. And the whole top is pretty much green with some speckles coming down. And then it's got some, kind of goes down. It's kind of freckly. It's looking a little too pattern-like. I'm going to try a sponge and see what happens. That might work. Yeah, that looks more like more natural. From the bottom. Nice. See, these are looking very similar. Okay, so while my pumpkins are drying, I want to show you one more thing really quickly that I was playing around with. And it's making a pumpkin lantern. I'm not going to go through all the steps of this, but just want to show you quickly something else you could do. This is something where you will be able to put a light in, shine a light through, and have it have some openings so that it looks like a lantern. So the way you can do this is I'm using a plastic cup and a tap light. And it's pretty much the same process, except I cut the bags in half. So I cut a bag in half, then open that half up the same way. I also just, instead of having a whole bag, I'm using half of it. So I glue this part of it down and fill it with paper, gather it up, and glue it on the sides, and then bend it over just like I did with the other pieces. And then what I did was I cut a hole into the top of the cup here so that I could hot glue the bag inside and around the edge of the bottom. So I cut the hole just big enough, a little bigger than the stick that I'm going to be using, and enough room to have the, the paper bag fold in. So it looks like this. In the bottom part, I glued around the edges. So that way, I'm going to paint this just so because I want to paint this one orange so you can see what it looks like orange. But I also wanted to show you what it looks like if you didn't paint it. If you just use the paper bag. That's pretty cool too for all of them. But I am going to paint this orange and use this one to show you. But that's just quickly how you can also make a pumpkin lantern. Okay, so my pumpkins are dry, and I'm going to add a little bit of Mod Podge to these to give them protection and a little bit of a shine. So I just poured out a little in this. You could get these at Dollar Tree. I have a big bottle here that I got from the craft store. So it just looks like glue. It acts like glue. It's used for doing decoupage. But I'm just going to use it to give my pumpkin a nice coating. Give it a little bit of a shine. I think it'll look more realistic that way. And this one is a high gloss, or a gloss luster one. They also have matte finishes, but even the gloss is not very, it's not extremely shiny. Okay, so I have all my finished paper bag pumpkins, and I added a little Mod Podge Mod Podge onto it to give it a little shine. So I painted, this is my lantern, and I actually painted this orange, but I added a little green to the top of it. Make it look a little more realistic, and some green at the bottom, similar to these speckled ones. And I think these turned out really great. I really like these. I even like the rough look of it. It sort of reminds me of paper mache. But they, you know, at a distance, I think they'll look or feel really real, like really like authentic pumpkins. So I'll have a nice variety of orange and white. Also, my lantern, at the bottom I put a piece of construction paper, orange, over the bottom, and I have it sort of indented so that when I put this over a light, I could sit this on top of a light, and the inside will glow orange. I think I like that. I think I'll put this on my fireplace mantle also. And let's go decorate my mantle right now. Now these pumpkins look perfect lying on a bed of my paper bag fall leaves. And at a distance, you can barely tell that everything's not real. Plus, my paper bag lantern will glow really nicely up here at night. All paper bag crafts, and it looks really beautiful, really fall. But I think I will be adding some pine cones and some flowers to decorate a little more. So in my next video, I'll finish up my home for fall. We'll do my table, my front porch, and add some finishing touches to this mantle. So see you then. Want more detailed instructions on some of these projects? On my Etsy store, for just a few dollars, you can get instant digital downloads of full-color step-by-step instructions with templates for some of your favorite projects. And check out my Amazon page, where you can pick up my Book of Elegant Home Crafts Volume 1 with all your favorite projects together in one big, beautiful, colored, step-by-step instruction book. You can now get separate e-project booklets, and also full-color printed project booklets will be available on Amazon. On my Amazon page, you'll see all my favorite crafting tools and supplies used on this show, and you can add them all to your cart for the one-click, fast and easy shopping and delivery convenience of Amazon. I'll be working every day to make crafting fun and easy for you. Follow me at Your House of Home and Your House of Home TV on all social media for extra home, food, and gardening tips.